One reaction can change your life. One moment, one message, one word. And suddenly everything is different. A friendship ends. A relationship breaks. Your reputation changes. And the most surprising part is this. It didn't happen because of the situation. It happened because of how you reacted to it. So before you continue watching, I want you to pause for a second and think about this question. How many problems in your life were created not by what happened, but by how you responded? Because we live in a world where everything is trying to get a reaction from you. Someone says something disrespectful. Someone ignores you. Someone posts something that makes you angry. And what do most people do? They react immediately. They reply fast. They speak without thinking. They let their emotions take control. And in that moment, they feel strong. They feel like they're defending themselves. But in reality, something very different is happening. They are losing control. Here is the truth most people never realize. When you react without thinking, you give your power away. You let other people decide how you feel. You let their words control your mood. You let their behavior control your actions. And slowly, without noticing, your life is no longer fully yours. It is being controlled by everything happening around you. Now think about this. If someone can say one sentence and ruin your entire day, who is really in control? If one message can change your mood, your energy, your focus, then who is leading your life? You or them? This is what emotional control really means. Not hiding your feelings. Not pretending to be strong. But choosing how you respond instead of reacting automatically. Most people misunderstand strength. They think reacting fast means they are powerful. They think shouting, arguing, defending themselves quickly shows confidence. But real strength is much quieter. Real strength is the ability to pause when everything inside you wants to explode. Real strength is control. And here is the problem. People react too fast. They react when they are angry. They react when they feel hurt. They react when their ego is touched. And in those moments, they say things they don't mean. They do things they later regret. One message sent in anger can damage a relationship that took years to build. One argument can create distance that never fully disappears. One emotional moment can change how people see you forever. You don't remember every small problem in your life, but you remember the moments where you lost control. The moments where you said, "I shouldn't have said that." The moments where you wished you could go back and choose a different response. That is the cost of reacting without awareness. So here is the truth you need to understand deeply. Reaction is not power. Reaction is giving your control to someone else. Every time you react without thinking, you are allowing the outside world to decide your inner state. And when that happens again and again, you lose something very important. You lose your peace. You lose your clarity. You lose your direction. But here is the good news. If reaction is a habit, it can be changed. If losing control is something you learned, then control is something you can build. And that is exactly what this video is about. This is not motivation. This is not stay positive advice. This is something more practical, more real. This is control training. Learning how to pause, how to think, how to respond instead of react. Learning how to keep your mind calm, even when the world is not. Because when you master this skill, something powerful happens. You stop being controlled by noise. You stop being pulled into unnecessary drama. You stop losing energy on things that don't matter. And for the first time, you start to feel something many people never experience, real control over your life. So take a breath, slow down, and get ready to see your reactions in a completely different way. Because once you understand this, you don't just change how you act. You change who you become. Now let's go deeper, because understanding this difference can completely change your life. There are only two ways you can deal with any situation. You either react or you respond. And at first, they may look the same, but in reality, they are completely different. A reaction is fast, emotional, automatic. It happens without thinking. Someone says something, and you immediately reply. Someone disrespects you, and you instantly feel anger. It is like a button. They press it, and you react. That is why we can call it emotional slavery. Because when someone else can control your emotions so easily, you are not free. You are being controlled. A response is different. A response is slower. It is calm. It is chosen. It comes after thinking. When you respond, you are still in control. You decide what to say, how to act, and whether the situation even deserves your attention. That is power. But most people never learn this difference. They live their entire lives reacting. And because of that, they keep creating problems they don't need. Let me tell you a simple story. There was a young man working in an office. He was hardworking, focused, and always did his best. People respected him. His manager trusted him. Slowly, he was building a good image for himself. Then one day, during a meeting, his manager criticized him in front of everyone. The criticism was not fair. It was not even true. And in that moment, the young man felt something strong rise inside him. Anger, frustration, embarrassment. Without thinking, he reacted. He raised his voice. He argued. He tried to defend himself loudly. The room became silent. Everyone was watching. The meeting ended in tension. And from that day on, something changed. People no longer saw him as calm and professional. They saw him as emotional, unstable, difficult. One moment, one reaction, and the image he built for years was damaged. Here is the important part. The manager forgot the mistake. But people remembered his reaction. And this is what many people don't understand. In life, people don't remember what happened. They remember how you handled it. Now let's talk about regret. Because this is where things become very real. Think about your own life. How many times have you said something in anger and later wished you could take it back? How many times have you sent a message and then thought, I shouldn't have sent that? How many times have you reacted in the moment and then felt regret for hours, days, or even years? But now think carefully. How many times have you stayed silent and later regretted it? Almost none. Because people don't regret control. They regret losing control. They don't regret pausing. They regret reacting too fast. They don't regret thinking. They regret speaking without thinking. This is the truth. Most of your emotional pain does not come from what happened. It comes from how you reacted to it. And this leads us to a very important shift. A shift that can change everything in your life if you truly understand it. Feeling an emotion is natural. Acting on it is a choice. You cannot stop yourself from feeling anger, sadness, or frustration. That is human. But you can choose what you do next. You can choose whether to speak or stay silent. Whether to act or wait. Whether to react or respond. And the difference between those two choices is the difference between chaos and control. So how do you actually build this skill? How do you stop reacting and start responding? You don't need something complicated. You need something simple, but powerful. The 5-second pause. The next time something triggers you, don't speak immediately. Don't type. Don't move. Just pause. Take a slow breath in, and then out. Count to 5 if you need to. In those 5 seconds, something important happens. Your emotion begins to calm down. Your mind starts to wake up. You move from reaction to awareness. And in that small space, you get your power back. You can still respond. You can still speak. You can still take action if needed. But now your words will come from clarity, not anger. From control, not impulse. From strength, not pain. Breathing may sound simple, but it is one of the most powerful tools you have. Because when your body slows down, your mind follows. When your breath becomes calm, your thoughts become clear. So remember this. Every situation gives you 2 options. React fast and lose control, or pause, think, and take it back. And the more you practice this, the stronger you become. Not louder, not more aggressive, but calmer, sharper, and more in control than most people around you. Now let's talk about something most people misunderstand completely: silence. Many people think silence is weakness. They believe that if you don't respond, if you don't argue, if you don't defend yourself, then you are afraid. They think being quiet means losing. But the truth is the opposite. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. Silence is power. Because when you stay silent, you are not reacting. You are choosing. You are deciding that not everything deserves your attention. And that alone already puts you in a different position from most people. Most people feel the need to reply to everything, to explain everything, to prove themselves in every situation. But powerful people don't do that. They don't waste energy trying to win small battles. They choose where to speak, and more importantly, where not to. Think about social media. Someone posts something about you. Maybe it's not true. Maybe it's negative. Maybe it's meant to hurt you. And instantly, there is pressure. Pressure to reply, to explain, to defend your name. And many people do exactly that. They write long messages. They argue in the comments. They try to prove they are right. But what usually happens? The situation becomes bigger. More people join. More opinions appear. More noise is created. And in the end, nobody wins. Only your peace is lost. Now imagine something different. Imagine you say nothing. No post. No reply. No reaction. At first, people may talk. They may guess. They may judge. But over time, something changes. The noise fades. The truth becomes clearer. And your silence starts to look like strength, not weakness. Because while others were fighting for attention, you stayed focused. While others were reacting, you stayed in control. This is what silence gives you, dignity. It protects your image, your energy, and your peace at the same time. And that brings us to something even more important. Your energy. Your energy is limited. You don't have unlimited focus, unlimited patience, or unlimited emotional strength. Every day, you wake up with a certain amount of energy. And how you use it decides the quality of your life. If you spend your energy on arguments, drama, and unnecessary reactions, you will have nothing left for your goals. You will feel tired, distracted, and unfocused. But if you protect your energy, if you choose carefully where to invest it, you become more powerful in everything you do. This is where many people make a mistake. They think they need to respond to everything to stay strong. But in reality, they are just giving their energy away. Not everything deserves your time. Not everything deserves your attention. And most importantly, not everything deserves your emotional investment. Some people want your reaction, not your understanding. They want to see you angry, confused, or hurt. Because your reaction gives them control. It feeds their ego. It creates drama. And if you keep stepping into that, you are playing a game that you can never win. So you need to learn how to step back. Not out of fear, but out of awareness. Because the strongest move is not always forward. Sometimes, the strongest move is to walk away. Let's connect this with something deeper. Distraction versus focus. Every time you react to something unnecessary, you lose focus. Every time you join drama, you move further away from your real goals. And slowly, without noticing, your life becomes full of noise, but empty of progress. Drama feels exciting. It pulls your attention. It makes you feel involved. But in reality, it steals your time. It steals your clarity. It steals your future. While you are busy reacting to things that don't matter, the things that actually matter are being ignored. Now imagine a different approach. Imagine you protect your focus like something valuable. You don't respond to every message. You don't react to every comment. You don't join every argument. Instead, you stay focused on what truly matters. Your growth, your goals, your peace. And this is where a simple question can change everything. Before you react, before you reply, before you give your attention to anything, ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? Not, is this annoying? Not, is this unfair? But does this deserve my energy? Because something can be unfair and still not deserve your attention. Something can be annoying and still not be important. When you ask this question honestly, you start to see things differently. You start to choose better. You stop reacting automatically and start acting intentionally. And the more you practice this, the more your life changes. You become calmer. You become more focused. You become more selective with your time and energy. And that is where real power begins. Because power is not about speaking more. It is about knowing when silence is stronger. Now let's go even deeper, because if you only try to control your reactions on the surface, it will not last. To truly change, you need to understand where your reactions come from. And the first truth is this. Reaction is not just a choice, it is a habit. Most people don't react because they decide to. They react because they are used to it. It has become automatic. Someone says something negative, and without thinking you respond. Someone ignores you, and you feel hurt immediately. Someone disagrees with you, and you start defending yourself right away. There is no pause, no awareness, just reaction. And when something becomes a habit, you stop questioning it. You don't ask, do I need to react? You just do it. That is why many people feel like they can't control their emotions. But the truth is, they never trained themselves to. Now here is where it gets more important. Your reactions are not only about the present moment. Many times, they come from something older, something deeper. Past experiences, old wounds, things that happened long ago but were never fully understood or healed. For example, if you were often ignored in the past, even a small moment of being ignored today can feel very painful. If you were criticized a lot as a child, even a simple comment can feel like an attack. If you were once rejected, you may react strongly to anything that feels like rejection again. So your reaction is not just about what is happening now. It is connected to what you have experienced before. That is why sometimes your reaction feels stronger than the situation. Because it is not just about the present. It is about the past that still lives inside you. And then there is another layer, something even more powerful: ego. Your ego is the voice inside you that wants to be right, wants to be respected, wants to be seen as important. It says things like, they should not talk to me like that. I need to prove myself. I cannot let this go. And because of that, you react. Not because it is necessary, but because your ego feels attacked. But here is the truth. Ego is not your strength. Ego is your trap. The more you try to prove yourself, the more you become controlled by what others think. The more you try to win every argument, the more you lose your peace. The more you react to protect your image, the more unstable your inner state becomes. Let me tell you a simple story. There was a man who worked many years for a company. He gave his time, his energy, and his loyalty. But one day, without warning, the company replaced him. No explanation, no appreciation, nothing. He felt angry, hurt, and disrespected. His ego was screaming, you need to show them who you are. You need to fight back. You need to prove they were wrong. He was ready to react, to speak publicly, to attack, to defend his name. But before he did anything, he visited his grandmother. She listened quietly, and then said something very simple. You don't become stronger by proving others wrong. You become stronger by not letting them control your future. That sentence changed everything. Instead of reacting, he chose silence. He walked away. He focused on rebuilding his life. Months later, he started something new. Years later, he became more successful than before. Not because he fought, but because he didn't waste his energy on something that didn't deserve it. That is the difference between ego and peace. Ego wants to win. It wants to be right. It wants to react. Peace wants to be free. It wants to stay calm. It wants to move forward. And every time you react, you are choosing ego. Every time you pause and let go, you are choosing peace. This is the shift you need to make. Not just controlling your reactions, but understanding them. Seeing where they come from. Asking yourself, is this about now, or something old? Am I reacting because of truth, or because of ego? Because the moment you become aware, you create space. And in that space, you have a choice. You can follow the habit, or you can change it. You can follow the ego, or you can choose peace. And that choice, repeated again and again, is what builds true control. Now let's bring everything together, because this is where real strength begins to show. In a world full of noise, chaos, and constant reactions, the people who truly stand out are not the loudest ones. They are the calm ones, because calm people win. When everything around them is falling apart, they stay steady. When others panic, they think clearly. When others react, they choose their response. And because of that, they make better decisions, build stronger relationships, and create a life that feels more controlled and more peaceful. Calm is not weakness. Calm is leadership. A calm person does not need to prove anything. They don't need to shout to be heard. They don't need to react to every situation to feel strong. Their power comes from control. And that control changes everything. It changes how people see you. It changes how you see yourself. It changes the direction of your life. So here is the final truth you need to remember. You don't need to react to everything. Not every comment deserves your attention. Not every situation deserves your emotion. Not every problem deserves your energy. When you understand this, life becomes simpler. You stop fighting unnecessary battles. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop giving your peace away so easily. And this is where a powerful shift happens. You begin to see yourself differently. You are no longer just someone who reacts to the world. You become someone who chooses how to move through it. Because here is something you must understand deeply. You are not your emotions. You feel them, but they do not control you unless you let them. Anger may come, but you don't have to act on it. Fear may appear, but you don't have to follow it. Frustration may rise, but you don't have to express it immediately. You have space between what you feel and what you do. And inside that space is your power. So if you ever feel like staying calm is weakness, remember this. It takes much more strength to stay in control than to react. Anyone can shout. Anyone can lose control. But not everyone can pause, think, and choose a better response. You are not weak. You are learning control. And that changes everything. So from this moment, start practicing. In small situations first. A message that annoys you. A comment that feels unfair. A moment that triggers you. Pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? And then choose your response. The more you do this, the stronger you become. Not louder, not more aggressive, but calmer, clearer, and more powerful than before. And if you want to grow in 2 ways at the same time, improve your English and build a stronger, calmer mindset, then stay with this journey. Like this video if it helped you see things differently. Comment, I choose calm. And subscribe to Invention English for more lessons that help you grow your English and your life together. Because at the end of the day, remember this simple truth. The less you react, the more powerful you become.